What's up, Nitwits? Damo99 here, and with me, as always, Game Over Joey.
Hey everyone.
Joe, I don't know if you've heard the interesting news today, but about an hour ago, Sony just bought Bungie for $3.6 billion.
Man, I did hear about the news by you. I was extremely shocked, to say the least. We already knew they were in the market to acquire some studios. But to be frank with you, if Bungie was ever acquired, I thought it would be Microsoft.
Going back to its roots.
Absolutely. I mean, they had that relationship back with towards Halo, and it's crazy news, and I'm shocked.
I mean, I think there's two things key points to say. One, obviously, Sony is reaching for everything now. Sony knows that it needs to buy now, and I think that's they're putting their backs against the wall, right? And I think that's one thing now. Microsoft has put the pressure on Sony to come up with an answer. I feel $3.6 billion for Bungie is a little bit of an overpayment because anything for billions of dollars probably is an overpayment. But Bungie, as of right now, has one big game, and that's Destiny. I don't know if that's worth the investment, but hopefully they have a lot more plans. With as much DLC and everything coming to Destiny, we do know for a fact that it will stay multi-platform for a while now. So,
yeah, I thought about this too. After you had mentioned it to me, I went and looked it up, and $3.6 billion. I mean, Destiny itself is a $1 billion franchise. Okay, so
yeah,
I can see why they see the value there. And you're acquiring a big studio too, so that in itself, I think the value's there. I really do, because here's my thought process here. Bringing up exclusivity and on GameIndustry.biz, they did state that they're going to be independent subsidiary to Sony Interactive. So that in itself means it's going to remain multi-platform from what this is, what they're saying at this point in time, right? Isn't that what they said? I believe.
Yeah.
And
that is correct.
They're going to be self published, and they really want to keep their games on both consoles. But what I believe is going to take place is that they're going to take half that studio, put it on an independent game to have that game exclusive to PlayStation, versus where the world of Destiny will stay on all platforms. That's just my opinion, and I think that's the way it's going to happen.
It makes the most sense.
Yeah, you also got to take in consideration too that Destiny or Bungie just signed a deal with Xbox not that long ago to bring Destiny to Game Pass. So Destiny, I can't see it ever going exclusive, but I can see them breaking up the studio to where they're working on an independent exclusive game for PlayStation going forward.
I think in general, Destiny's a good game. I don't think it's one of the greatest. I know you love Destiny. I think it's a really good game. I hope there's something, they have something up their sleeve here. But this isn't the Bungie that had Halo. I think that's one thing to reiterate too, because I don't know if a lot of people, because they hear Bungie and they immediately associate it with those old Halo games. But Destiny isn't going to change, in my opinion, the gaming world. I mean, want to convert to PlayStation to play, only PlayStation. If Xbox really is going to lose Destiny now, I mean, kind of a power move to be like, well, World of Warcraft on console. So I think it's a weird, I don't know. I feel apples to apples here, or however you want to describe it. I like the purchase because it shows PlayStation is actually trying to play in the game now. I just don't know if this was the right purchase at the right time. It's just not enough, or a volume of things, I guess would be the correct term.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny, again, I'm pretty confident it's going to remain on all platforms, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And power play, I don't think Sony's going to be able to ever do that for the sole fact they just don't have the finances that Microsoft has. When you're looking at $2.4 trillion of liquid assets compared to 100 billion, I'm sorry, that you're just not comparing apples to apples. You're not. And, you know, this acquisition for 3.6 billion, how many more of these can Sony do? That's my point, right? So
that's what I'm saying. For volume, I don't know if this was worth the move, unless you have something, unless there's something big planned.
Yeah, I mean, they could do an acquisition of $10-15 billion, sure. You know, that's 10% of their portfolio, 15% of their portfolio, depending on how much they pay, which would be fine if it pays out long term, which it would, depending on what studio they buy. You know, I still think there's a possibility they could be working on a deal with Square. I really, really think that's a possibility. And if that were to take place, that would be a massive move on their part because Square has Final Fantasy, which is huge. Kingdom Hearts,
which is a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, and you also got to think too. They own the Marvel. Well, I shouldn't say own. They
have the relationship built.
Yes, with Marvel. So they have that Marvel game, which is Crystal Dynamics, which is with Square Enix. And if Sony did pull that off, I mean, Sony already has a relationship with them to some extent because they have Spider-Man, obviously, and then they also have Wolverine coming out. But they would even get more exclusivity out of that deal if they did that, and it would make more sense. Even Capcom, but I can't see Capcom going over to them just because they have such a good relationship with Xbox, especially Dead Rising, for example.
Yeah.
But still, like if they did something like that, that would be a massive, you know, play on their part. You know, I can, but yeah, man, they are definitely in it. I can't remember who said it. I remember you making a comment on one of our last podcast. You know, it's ultimately a content war now, right?
100%.
And it's was that you that said that?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know what you're thinking. I thought you did.
Yeah.
And it's a content war. It's clearly not a system war anymore. It's about who's going to have the most amount of games coming out on their platforms. And that trophy still with Microsoft with their 34 studios. And you know, that's easier. It's easy said, you know, there's no way Sony is going to be able to rebuttal this, especially the fact that Microsoft has confirmed they're still acquiring studios. They're not stopping. And their acquisitions are substantially larger. So I'm just, you know, I hope Sony can pull something off because, yeah, honestly, I do like Sony as a company, and I think that they make amazing games, especially story-driven games, except Last of Us 2, that was horrible. But overall, they do make some really good stuff, and, you know, the market needs to stay very diverse, because if it's not, then we don't want one company controlling all. That's not a good thing.
I kind of feel this whole console war is just the Avengers Civil War or Captain America Civil War.
That's
where
good, yeah.
Where Iron Man and Captain America are just going out and recruiting other heroes and trying to build up the biggest and best army they can. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, you two kind of just equaling each other out. So it'd be Sony versus Microsoft in that aspect, but it's going to be who builds the better army. I mean, it's all about buying power now and who you have on your side. And I still think to this day, comparison of where we're at now, Microsoft's still winning right now, but hopefully this shows that Sony's going to try to make some even minor moves to build up the littler base that they have, or the littler games to make them stronger.
Yeah, I mean they definitely will. I think they have to. They have to compete in the game Microsoft is really developing at this point. They really need to do something.
We'll learn a lot about Sony this year if Batman can come out, if Hogwarts can come out, if God of War will, and Horizon will come out as well. So its big hitters are coming.
No.
So
Hogwarts is on all platforms.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's on me.
And
but
so is the Batman series.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
I thought that was just
Arkham
PlayStation.
Knights. No, it's
Yeah.
across all platforms.
Phew, man, they aren't getting anything special then. There's the
No,
two big ones that we know
God of
of.
War and Horizon are the
Yeah.
only two that will be coming exclusive to. And that's the thing. I mean, we talked about this in our prior podcast.
Mhm.
If they don't drop these two, Horizon we know is coming out in literally 18 days,
Yep.
and so February 18th. If they don't pull off God of War Ragnarok at the end of this year, it's going to be a flop year for PS5.
Hardcore.
But if they can pull off these two major exclusives, which we already know they're pulling off one, but if they can get the second one out, Ragnarok, it's going to be in. So I still think Xbox is going to win overall, and I think Xbox is going to pull ahead in total console sold. I really do. But I do think it would be completely over this generation for Sony if they can get both these games out this year with next to near flawless launches. I want to add that in there.
That's the key, Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's a great game. That's what you said, right? But
that's Mass Effect.
Speaking of Mass Effect, a game that reminds me of Mass Effect a lot is Guardians of the Galaxy, the game.
I'll check it out.
It's amazing. I'm not kidding. I'm playing through it right now and I love it. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. They have to acquire more studios, have these two games launch this year with flawless launches, which they probably will since they're exclusives and they're single player. But as long as they do that, Sony's going to be fine, in my opinion. Obviously, this is just my opinion. I do think Xbox is going to pull ahead very soon in total console sales. They're not too far behind now, and their Game Pass subscriptions have shot up because of all these acquisitions. The odds are we're going to see World of Warcraft here soon on console. I wouldn't be shocked if they do an announcement at E3 in June this year. And hopefully what I would love to see out of that, because I'm a WoW fan, is I would love for them to do a whole graphic overhaul of the game. Since it's under Microsoft's umbrella, if they did that and then they add it to Game Pass, imagine the amount of people that are going to convert back over to WoW and play.
Oh, I would spend $15 a month on it.
Yeah, that's my point. If you already have Game Pass and it was thrown in there, and then they did a whole graphic overhaul of the game to make it a par with 2022 graphics, or that they're already currently working on that and has something to show at E3, that would really be a big move on their behalf, to where that would hurt Sony really hard. And that's the reason I think if Sony acquires Square and gets Final Fantasy 14, and that would be huge in their part, because they'd have their own MMO. And I know it's already on PlayStation. I already know that. I'm just saying that they would be able to develop a new MMO in the future that would work really well, because they'd have a studio that's already done an amazing job with it.
These purchases, though, aren't for now. These purchases are for like a year or two away. These purchases are to win the long war here. It's not the battles now. I think that's another thing too to remember, is that most of these studios are being bought. They already have things coming out for both consoles, or content coming out for both, however you want to word it. Like
that's just like, with them purchasing Activision, Sony has already signed deals to have the next 3 Call of Duties on PlayStation. So if you're a PlayStation fan, then guess what? You're in good luck, because if you're solely a Call of Duty fan but you like it on PlayStation, guaranteed the next 3 Call of Duty games. If Microsoft ends the 2-year cycle and they're releasing them every 2 to 3 years, you're getting the next 3 games guaranteed.
Yeah.
And Phil has already committed to that. So and that's the thing. So yeah, Dom, you're 100% right. It is more of a future thing than anything. I know a lot of these games will go exclusive. Like I think Overwatch 2, I personally feel it's going to go exclusive. I feel that a lot of these games will make it exclusive, and I do think WoW's coming to console, Xbox, which is super exciting. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to this. And another thing is too, not only is, I know this is about Sony specifically, but Xbox being able to clean up really Activision Blizzard in sense of making a better overall environment there, but also making their games better because of the technology that they have and the support that they're going to have.
Yeah,
it's going to be absolutely insane. Vice versa, though, Sony does have deep pockets, and Sony acquiring, Bungie, and they'd be able to do the same thing there. And let's be real, Destiny is not a perfect game. It is a great game. It is a game I love. But there are definitely some things that they need to change and work on. And I think with the resources that Sony has to provide is only going to help Bungie long term as well.
Hey, man. It's crazy to me. I guess I wasn't expecting this news at all. Still, I was staying by. I think it's an interesting purchase, but I don't think this changes anything. I think Xbox still wins everything in this war.
No, you're 100% right, man. There's no way. Even this acquisition, it is a big deal. But yeah, it does nothing for Sony right now. Sony, is it a power play? Not really. But is it a good move for them? Is it a good look? Sure. But since we already know that Destiny's staying on all platforms, and we also know that Bungie said they would sell as long as they stayed independent, but under Sony Interactive. I believe that's what it said. That right there is just saying, actually right here in the PlayStation blog post, and this is from IGN, they state that Jim Ryan stated that talked about Bungie's independence as a publisher and studio. So if you want to go read that, feel free. But what I'm trying to get at is Bungie is going to be its own independent studio in a sense, but under the Sony umbrella. So, they're really serving both communities. Now, just to throw a curveball out there, what if, because of this move, let's say there is something being worked out between Phil and Jim Ryan where Phil agrees to keep Activision games on PlayStation versus where Bungie's going to be keeping games on all platforms too. I doubt that. I'm just saying.
No, Phil's going for jugular. He's going to keep his.
He is. That would be a really, really weird world, having all games on, every platform type thing.
Yet again, I will stand by this. I'm still waiting to hear some sort of Switch, Nintendo, Microsoft announcement, and I will still waiting on that. But until I get that one, I'm going to bring it up every podcast, just like I did Mass Effect should have been Game of the Year.
Mass Effect should have not have been Game of the Year.
Hey,
you had to hear it first here, Dom.
Nope.
Sorry.
Nope, I'm in denial still.
Yeah, one of us got to be realistic, though.
But Nitwits, just remember, Sony spent $3.6 billion. Xbox spent how much? $70 billion. And they're only going to spend billions and billions of more.
68.7.
Yeah, so 70 billion basically. Basically, Sony spent 4, Xbox spent 70, and they're probably each going to spend another 10 within the next 5 months or something before the midway year.
Yeah,
mid of the year here, they'll probably each pump out more money.
Over the next few months, EA, Ubisoft, Square Enix, they're all getting acquired.
Yeah, right. EA won't be able to be acquired by anyone. Those money-hungry people, no one can keep up with that.
I mean, they're only $11 billion company, though.
That's true. They could have bought Bungie.
Yeah, they could have. I mean, they could have, but that means PlayStation could ultimately buy EA. I doubt it because they have a really good relationship with Microsoft, but you never know.
Too much money everywhere. EA will never have to go single platform.
No, EA. Never mind. No, never mind.
All right, Nitwits. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want. We don't care. Always, please subscribe. Hit the like button if you made it this far in the video. And stay classy.
Peace, love, and chicken grease.